Dana Jacobson joining us here with CBS. Dana, first of all, thank you so much.
Sure.
You said this is year 10, maybe 11 for you?
Yeah, if you count COVID, it's 11, but I've been on the floor now for 10 years, which is amazing, because the first one I did was a 24-hour call of, we need you to get to Pittsburgh in like 2 hours, and we were the tip-off game the next morning. So it's been a whirlwind since then. Yeah.
That's what March Madness is all about, isn't it?
Exactly.
Well, you've made it to number 10, maybe 11. When you look around, you see the home of the Nuggets, college basketball taking its place for the week. What gets you excited about the teams you see in this tournament?
Well, I think it's appropriate that we are here in an NBA arena because there's so many teams, especially even here, where we're seeing this NBA influence now. It is get to the rack, take a three-point shot, forget about the mid-range jumper. And you've got that in teams like a BYU here, like Wisconsin. We knew Wisconsin forever for defense, and now Wisconsin plays that same style. I think that's more exciting for fans to watch, and it helps these kids as they get on to develop, to potentially go to the NBA, but I think that's part of the fun of what we see, and maybe it mixes it up a little bit enough to see a couple upsets, because that's what people always seem to want.
Right. And the Big Ten teams aren't normally the ones who are off and running, but it's interesting we have two of them here and they're playing that style of basketball.
Yeah, and again, it's about the personnel, it's about the transfers. You're getting guys in. You're not going to be able to teach a defensive schemed system to a guy and have him take over, and in a month, all of a sudden he's up to speed. And so, Wisconsin's a prime example that's playing here now. Just hearing about John Tonje, amazing on the floor offensively, it took him a couple months to get into their defensive system. So it helps the way the system is set up now for these players to be.
And speaking of Tonje, he's a perfect example because he played at Colorado State for 4 seasons
Right.
before he came here. So have you watched much of his development, and what can you say back on the time that he played there at CSU? I know CSU wasn't making many tournaments when he was first there, but quite the development because now he's trending up maybe in the NBA draft too.
I think not even taking my word, let's take the word of his head coach, who's even surprised to see this level.
Right.
That they have to be honest and say they didn't know he could be at this level. Now, part of that is also fitting in with the players that you're around. His maturity, the things that I've heard the most about him and haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, is that maturity that he brings, that desire to do the next step, to ask the question of how I can be better. You don't get that in everyone. Sometimes it's, I'm going to blame it on this and blame it on that. That does not seem to be his way.
Helps that you're playing a whole lot of college basketball too. I think he's in year 6 now. Looking at these teams, who could surprise us in this Denver region?
I think you've got the potential. I always say don't count out the Ivy Leagues. I think Yale has that potential, especially because of what they were able to do last year in knocking off Auburn. They've changed up their personnel a little bit. That's one. For me, the Michigan grad that I am, which I'm looking and saying, the Michigan grad that I am, if I can say that, UC San Diego is a scary team. They are incredibly impressive. They were at such a high level in D2. This is the first year they're eligible to be in the tournament. They made it. Incredible shooters. It's not a style that Michigan is necessarily going to be used to playing with the size that they have, and by that I mean smaller in size and stature, and I think that could mess with them for a little while. Or, by the way, Michigan could go out and dominate with their bigs, with Area 51, and take care of it. But those are the two that I'm sort of looking at and saying, I don't know, Michigan could fall victim to maybe that 12-5 in this new team.
Well, that's quite the matchup because you got 2 7-footers on Michigan's side and you got a small
Right.
running team in the Tritons.
Right, and that's why you never know what can happen. This time of year, you have what, 3 days, 2.5 days to prepare for your opponent, and then you're going to have a day in between. And that's part of it. I think the teams that do best often make sure that they're playing their game. You cannot have enough time to prepare. You've got to play your game and do the things that you do well, and if you do that, that's the best way to take care of business.
Your final one. Have you felt the elevation yet in Denver? Feeling good?
I have not felt it yet, but I've been really good because I've been here many times before. I've been drinking my water. My workout went down just a little bit, but that's all right.
You're working out harder just by being up here.
That's right.
Well-oiled machine, Dana Jacobson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.